to tell our American colleagues, you know, that the channels for the dialogue are very limited right now, so we have to use every one of them. To tell our American colleagues, you know, that the channels for the dialogue are very limited right now, so we have to use every one of them. I don't think anything will.
Ambassador,
okay. Okay.
We've heard accusations from both Russia and the West on the possible use of chemical weapons in Ukraine. Would such an attack, would Russia agree to OPCW inspectors going in straight away to determine how an attack happened and who was responsible?
Frankly, if it depended on me, I don't have in OPCW after what happened in Syria and all these things. But in any case, we will document it, and I told you about the ampoules, and we need to see what was the substance that was used there. And we will, of course, share Secretariat. But OPCW Secretariat proved to be absolutely pro-Western and absolutely anti-Russia, anti-Syria, so I don't think it would be constructive engagement. And I hope that there will be no chemical provocations. The more we make it vocal, the less chances are there to commit these provocations.
Ambassador, last question. Your country launched Odessa on Friday. I don't understand the logical with the offensive in the east part of the country.
If you saw the details, you would see that the rockets that hit residential buildings not launched by Russia. It was confirmed. They were from Ukrainian air defense, because Russia was striking absolutely another military targets with high precision weapons. So fired and they missed the target, which happens unfortunately, and it resulted in the military infrastructure. It's not to my knowledge that we were striking something else in Odessa. Thank you.
I apologize for the delay. The focus of the debate this morning will sadly be on the lies fabricated by terror organizations regarding the situation and on the Temple Mount, and not on the real critical threats to the Middle East. The threats, as you know, namely Iran and its danger program or its proxies like Hezbollah, destabilizing the region. On the Temple Mount, violence is incited and perpetrated only by a mob of Palestinians trying to hijack the holy site and inflame Jerusalem. This chaos and violence endangers Muslim worshippers and threatens Jews. As a result, Israeli police had to intervene, showing exemplary restraint. Police protected the right to worship and succeeded in restoring order. Nevertheless, international bodies made far-fetched calls for calm from both sides. On the one side, we have the mobs of bloodthirsty terrorists calling to murder Jews, throwing firebombs and rocks from mosque windows and shooting firecrackers from within their holy sites. On the other side, we have a law which ensures the freedom of worship for all, is committed to protecting holy sites, and shows respect and restraint before using minimal force only when necessary. And calls are made for calm for both sides? How detached from reality has the international community become? Groups like Hamas and Islamic Jihad have spun a web of lies absurdly pointing the finger of blame at Israel for the violent they themselves organized and carried out. If this narrative of lies is spread, the violent acts of terror will only escalate, as we've seen over days with the indiscriminate firing of rockets from Gaza and Lebanon at Israel just last night. But a sad part of this spread of blatant fabrications is that the truth couldn't be more clearer. All of the events on the Temple Mount have been captured on camera. Photos and video footage are accessible to all. Yet, when I requested to show this footage, you all know that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Yet, when I requested to show this footage, you all know that a picture is worth 1,000 words. and a video from a reliable source is worth 1,000,000 words. Just many have buried their heads in the ground. Why bother with the facts and the truth when you can just blame Israel or make a false moral comparison, democracy and terror organizations? Well, I refuse to let falsehoods to dominate the narrative. If I can share the footage with the video with you all here, as I'm sure that you will all spread the truth on your platforms, I'm sure. As you saw, please give me. Look at the extremist Palestinian mob, how they brought firecrackers, fireworks, rocks, everything in order to prevent people from praying, Jews and Muslims. Look at the Hamas and terror organizations' flags on the Temple Mount, and look how they attack with huge rocks that were carrying Jews to pray at the Western Wall. Everything was photoed and filmed. You just and take your head out of the sand. Shocking. And by the way, all the sounds and explosions that you hear belongs only to the Palestinians. Our police acted in a restrained way. As you saw, the only ones violate status quo on the Temple Mount are the Palestinian terror group that will not allow terrorists to prevent any worshippers of any faith to exercise their right to pray. And Israel will not stand idly by as terrorists convert into battlefields. Israel is and continues to be committed to the status quo on the Temple Mount. To the international community, I say enough. Stop putting Israel and radical Islamic terror groups on equal moral footing. It only intensifies the terrorist violence. Wake up is right in front of you. The time has come to pull your head out of the sand. Thank you very much.
Ambassador Pamela Falk from CBS. What your foreign minister said this morning, that the provocations were started by Hamas. Is that what that video shows? And video, is there any way to stop the violence? Thank you.
On the Temple Mount and around the Temple Mount, there are security cameras that are operating 24, and everyone can watch and see what really happened there. But I mean, once you see the films, you have no doubt. I mean, these were operatives affiliated with Hamas, mainly, but also with Islamic Jihad, that are trying to hijack whatever is happening inside the mosque, in the plaza in front of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and they desecrated the mosque by bringing inside the mosque weaponry, like Molotov cocktails, like big rocks that they threw at the police officers. And shockingly, I mean, the world and many in the international community using this moral comparison, like calling both sides. Who are these both sides? You have a vibrant democracy trying to defend the freedom of worship by radical Muslims, terrorists, and the Security Council is continuing, to turn to both sides, and that's what I decide, but I will criticize this approach.
As the meeting is about to start, Ambassador, can I take any more questions?
Yes, I will try.
London.
Yes.
Mr. Ambassador, there are hundreds of videos that proves that the army is targeting innocent civilians. And everybody saw that lady, teen, who was shot at a close range. I don't want to argue with you, but do you want the Palestinian to embrace occupation, love occupation, throw chocolate at the occupier to resist occupation? Do you admit it's an occupation?
Israel is
do
not
you admit it's an
I'm
occupation?
not going to argue with you on natural homeland.
So it's not
but
occupied.
specifically Jerusalem, okay, we're not occupied. Jerusalem, okay, we're not occupiers in Jerusalem, and we're not occupiers anyway in the land of Israel. And you know the sovereignty can be maintained, and that is what is happening in the sense of thousands of Palestinians are coming there to pray, and the Israeli police is securing them.